Let me tell you the story of Anna. The counter in front of her holds 11 products: a vitamin C serum, a retinol night cream, a hyaluronic acid mist, a collagen-infused eye cream that cost $80 for half an ounce. She has been doing this for 15 years. And every morning, when the light hits her face at that particular angle, she sees the same thing she saw yesterday. The lines are deeper. The skin along her jaw is softer than it used to be. The firmness she remembers from her 50s is quietly, steadily disappearing. She is not alone. There are tens of millions of adults in their 60s and 70s doing exactly the same thing, faithfully applying the same serums, the same creams, the same promises, while the thing they are trying to slow continues progressing beneath every product they own. And here is the part nobody in the skincare industry wants to say out loud. It was never going to work. Not because those people weren't trying hard enough. Not because they chose the wrong products. But because the aging they are seeing in the mirror is not happening where those products can reach. It is happening 3 millimeters below the surface. And a biological layer that no moisturizer, no serum, and no collagen cream applied to the skin can meaningfully access. Every year, the global skincare industry collects over $200 billion, much of it from older adults who have been told, implicitly and explicitly, that the right combination of topical products will restore what time has taken. That firmer skin, fewer lines, and a more youthful appearance are available in a jar if you find the right jar. That is not a promise the science supports. The visible aging that appears in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, the hollowing, the sagging, the deepening lines, the loss of that structural resilience skin once had, is the surface expression of a biological process that began decades earlier, deep in the dermis, driven by the progressive collapse of your collagen network. And the people selling you creams know exactly where that collapse is happening. They also know their products cannot reach it. For the older adult who has spent years, sometimes decades, trying to address their skin through what they apply to it, this video is not a criticism. It is a correction. Because the biology of skin aging in your 60s and beyond is specific, it is well understood, and the interventions that actually work at that stage of life operate through an entirely different mechanism than anything sitting on your bathroom counter. I'm Dr. Camila Torres, and you're watching Senior Decode. Today, I am sharing one secret ingredient to help you get your wrinkle-free, glowing skin back. 1 spoon of this ingredient daily for a few weeks can improve your skin. So stay with me. This is the conversation your dermatologist likely never had with you, and should have here is what skin aging actually is at the biological level, stripped of marketing language and cosmetic industry framing. Skin aging is a structural collapse, not dehydration, not surface dullness, not a lack of expensive active ingredients. It is the progressive loss of the structural protein network that gives skin its architecture. Its firmness, its elasticity, its ability to return to form after movement or compression. That protein is collagen, and it accounts for approximately 75% of your skin's dry weight. In your 20s, your body produces collagen at a rate that comfortably outpaces its degradation. The structural network stays dense. Skin stays firm. Recovery from damage is fast and complete. Starting in your late 20s and accelerating sharply after 40, collagen production declines at approximately 1% per year. Simultaneously, the enzymes that break down existing collagen, called matrix metalloproteinases, become more active. You are producing less and losing more at the same time. The result is not gradual fading. It is cumulative structural loss that eventually crosses visible thresholds, lines, hollowing, sagging, texture changes that no amount of surface-level intervention can structurally address. That is the truth about skin aging. And it starts well below anything you can see or touch. To understand why the skincare industry's approach is fundamentally limited, you need a clear picture of what skin actually is. Your skin has 3 primary layers. The outermost layer is the epidermis. This is what you see, what you touch, what you apply products to. It is primarily composed of keratinocytes, cells that form a protective barrier. The epidermis has no blood supply of its own. It is nourished entirely by diffusion from below. Beneath the epidermis is the dermis, and this is where the story of aging actually lives. The dermis is a dense biological matrix composed primarily of collagen fibers, elastin fibers, and hyaluronic acid. It is where skin gets its structure, its bounce, its mechanical integrity. It is also where fibroblasts, the cells responsible for producing collagen, reside and operate. The dermis is richly vascularized, meaning it is fed directly by the bloodstream. Below the dermis is the hypodermis, the subcutaneous layer of fat and connective tissue that provides volume and cushioning. The architecture of aging skin tells a precise story. The dermis thins. The collagen matrix loses density and organization. The fibroblasts slow their output. The fat in the hypodermis redistributes. The cumulative result is the visible transformation we associate with aging. Everything meaningful about that process happens in the dermis, fed by blood, driven by biology, and completely inaccessible to anything you apply to the epidermis. This is the conversation the skincare industry does not want to have. Molecules need to be smaller than 500 Daltons to meaningfully penetrate the skin barrier and reach the dermis. Collagen molecules, even hydrolyzed collagen fragments in topical products, range from 300,000 to 1 million Daltons. They sit on the surface of the epidermis, provide temporary hydration, and are washed away. They do not penetrate. They do not reach fibroblasts. They do not stimulate collagen synthesis in the dermis. Physically, structurally, they cannot. Retinoids, prescription vitamin A derivatives, are among the few topical compounds with genuine evidence for influencing dermal activity at therapeutic doses. They work by upregulating fibroblast activity through retinoic acid receptors. They have meaningful clinical data, but even retinoids address only one narrow pathway and require years of consistent use for measurable structural results. The fundamental limitation remains. You cannot rebuild a structural protein network that is 3 millimeters below the surface by applying something to the surface. The architecture of skin makes that approach physically inadequate regardless of what the active ingredient is. Rebuilding dermal collagen requires working through the system that actually feeds the dermis, the bloodstream. Collagen synthesis in the dermis is not a surface event. It is a systemic biological process that begins in the gut and ends in the fibroblast. Here is how it works. Dietary protein is broken down in the digestive tract into amino acids and small peptide chains. Those compounds enter the bloodstream. They circulate to the dermis, where they are taken up by fibroblasts, the collagen manufacturing cells of the skin. Inside the fibroblast, specific amino acids are assembled into procollagen chains, processed, and secreted into the extracellular matrix as mature collagen fibers. The key amino acids required for this process are glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. Glycine and proline are conditionally essential, meaning the body can produce them, but not at sufficient quantities to meet the demands of active collagen synthesis. Hydroxyproline is almost exclusively derived from collagen itself and requires vitamin C for its formation. The bloodstream is the delivery system. Fibroblasts are the factory. And the raw material that factory requires arrives through what you eat, not what you apply. Fibroblasts do not produce collagen continuously at full capacity. Their output is regulated by biological signals, and one of the most important signals is the presence of specific amino acid sequences in the bloodstream. This is where collagen peptides become clinically significant. Research has demonstrated that when hydrolyzed collagen peptides, specifically D and tripeptide sequences containing proline and hydroxyproline, are absorbed from the gut into circulation, they act as bioactive signaling molecules at fibroblast receptor sites. They essentially communicate to the fibroblast that collagen breakdown has occurred and that synthesis should be upregulated. This is a feedback mechanism. The body interprets collagen-derived peptides in the blood as a signal that structural repair is needed. Fibroblasts respond by increasing collagen production. This mechanism is distinct from simply providing amino acid building blocks. It is a targeted biological signal, one that general protein sources do not generate with the same specificity or potency. For most of human history, collagen-rich foods were dietary staples. For most of human history, collagen-rich foods were dietary staples, not supplements. Bone broths, organ meats, cartilage, skin, connective tissue. These foods delivered glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline in concentrated form as a routine part of daily eating. Modern diets have largely eliminated those sources. Contemporary protein consumption centers on muscle meat, chicken breast, lean beef, protein powders derived from whey or plant sources. These provide adequate overall protein, but are poor sources of the specific amino acids required for collagen synthesis. The result is a population that consumes sufficient total protein while remaining functionally deficient in the raw materials the body needs to maintain its structural protein networks. Skin, joints, tendons, and arterial walls all depend on collagen production and all show the cumulative effects of that deficiency over time. This is not a supplement industry talking point. It is a nutritional gap with a straightforward explanation and a straightforward solution. Not all protein is equivalent for collagen synthesis, and understanding why requires understanding what makes hydrolyzed collagen peptides biologically unique. Standard dietary protein, whether from eggs, chicken, legumes, or whey, is broken down into individual amino acids during digestion. Those amino acids enter a general metabolic pool and are allocated across the body's many competing demands. Some fraction reaches fibroblasts. Most is directed elsewhere. Hydrolyzed collagen peptides, collagen that has been enzymatically broken into small d and tripeptide fragments, survive digestion in their peptide form and appear in the bloodstream intact. Studies using isotope tracing have confirmed that these specific peptides accumulate preferentially in skin tissue within hours of consumption. More critically, these peptide sequences, particularly prolyl hydroxyproline and hydroxyprolylacine, directly activate fibroblast collagen synthesis through receptor-mediated signaling in a way that non-collagen protein sources do not replicate. You are not just feeding the factory. You are sending the factory a specific instruction to increase production. That distinction is what the clinical evidence consistently confirms. Let me give you the research directly. A randomized controlled trial published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology enrolled 122 women between the ages of 45 and 65. Participants consumed 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides daily for 12 weeks. At the study's conclusion, the treatment group showed a significant improvement in skin elasticity, a measurable reduction in eye wrinkle depth, and increased skin hydration compared to placebo, all confirmed through objective dermatological measurement, not self-reporting. A separate double-blind trial published in Skin Pharmacology and Physiology found that women consuming 2.5 to 5 grams of specific collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks demonstrated a statistically significant improvement in skin elasticity with effects persisting for 4 weeks after supplementation ended, suggesting structural change rather than transient hydration. Research from Kiel University in Germany used ultrasound imaging to directly measure dermal collagen density before and after collagen peptide supplementation. Participants showed measurable increases in dermal thickness and collagen network density after 12 weeks, physical structural changes confirmed through imaging technology. The evidence is not anecdotal. It is controlled, measured, and reproducible across independent research groups. Collagen synthesis cannot proceed without vitamin C. This is not a nutritional recommendation. It is biochemistry. The conversion of proline to hydroxyproline, the step that stabilizes the collagen triple helix and gives the molecule its structural integrity, requires the enzyme prolyl hydroxylase. That enzyme is vitamin C dependent. Without adequate vitamin C, collagen chains are synthesized but structurally unstable. They cannot form the organized fibers that provide skin its mechanical properties. Scurvy, the disease of severe vitamin C deficiency, is, at its core, a collagen synthesis failure. Skin breaks down, wounds fail to heal, connective tissue loses integrity. This is what happens when the cofactor for collagen production is absent. Subclinical vitamin C insufficiency, not frank deficiency, but suboptimal status, produces a milder version of the same impairment. Collagen synthesis is slowed. Structural maintenance of the dermis is compromised. Existing collagen degrades faster than new collagen can replace it. Adequate vitamin C is not optional for this protocol. It is the biochemical prerequisite on which everything else depends. Building collagen is only half the equation. The other half is stopping what is actively destroying it. There are 4 primary collagen destroyers, and most adults over 50 are experiencing all 4 simultaneously without realizing it. Destroyer 1. Glycation from sugar. When excess glucose circulates in the bloodstream, it attaches to proteins through a process called glycation. Collagen is particularly vulnerable. Glycated collagen forms cross-linked structures called advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These compounds are rigid, dysfunctional, and resistant to normal remodeling. They accumulate in the dermis over time, replacing healthy, flexible collagen with brittle, cross-linked fibers. The skin becomes stiff, loses elasticity, and develops a dull, aged quality that reflects structural degradation at the molecular level. Every high-sugar meal accelerates this process. Destroyer 2. Chronic cortisol suppression. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, is profoundly catabolic to connective tissue. When cortisol remains chronically elevated through sustained psychological stress, disrupted sleep, or overtraining, it directly suppresses fibroblast activity and upregulates the matrix metalloproteinases that break down existing collagen. Chronic stress does not just affect your mental state. It is measurably degrading the structural architecture of your skin at the cellular level every single day it persists. Destroyer 3. Chronic inflammation. Systemic low-grade inflammation activates the same matrix metalloproteinases that cortisol triggers and does so continuously. Pro-inflammatory cytokines, including interleukin-1 and TNF-alpha, directly stimulate collagen degradation enzymes while simultaneously suppressing fibroblast collagen synthesis. The result is a net negative collagen balance that worsens with every year of unaddressed inflammatory load. Processed food, seed oils, refined carbohydrates, poor sleep, and sedentary behavior are all primary drivers of this chronic inflammatory state. Destroyer 4. UV-induced photoaging. Ultraviolet radiation is the most well-documented environmental accelerant of dermal collagen loss. UV exposure, particularly UVA, which penetrates to the dermis even through glass, generates reactive oxygen species that directly damage collagen fibers and activates matrix metalloproteinases at concentrations far exceeding normal physiological levels. Decades of cumulative UV exposure produce the pattern of photoaging: deep lines, loss of elasticity, irregular pigmentation, and skin texture changes that represent structural destruction at the dermal level. Photoaging is not cosmetic. It is biological damage, and it is largely preventable. Here is the complete evidence-based protocol. Every element has a specific biological rationale. Every dose is drawn from clinical research rather than marketing convention. Collagen peptide dosage and timing. 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides daily. This is the dose used in the most comprehensive clinical trials showing measurable structural skin changes. Marine collagen and bovine collagen have both demonstrated efficacy. Marine collagen has slightly higher bioavailability due to smaller average peptide size. Timing matters. Consume collagen peptides in the morning in a fasted or semi-fasted state. Insulin suppresses growth hormone, and growth hormone is one of the key regulators of fibroblast activity. Consuming collagen before significant carbohydrate intake maximizes the fibroblast signaling environment. Always pair collagen with vitamin C at the same time. A minimum of 500 milligrams of vitamin C taken alongside collagen ensures that the enzymatic machinery required to convert those amino acids into stable collagen fibers is fully supported. Without this cofactor present at the moment of synthesis, the raw material you are providing cannot be efficiently utilized. Essential nutritional cofactors. Zinc is required for the activity of matrix metalloproteinases, as well as for collagen synthesis regulation. 8 to 11 milligrams daily from food sources, pumpkin seeds, oysters, legumes, or supplemental zinc if dietary intake is insufficient. Copper is essential for the cross-linking of collagen fibers into organized structural networks. Without copper, Collagen is produced but poorly assembled. Dark chocolate, shellfish, and nuts are reliable dietary sources. Silica found in oats, leeks, and horsetail extract supports the formation of the proteoglycan matrix in which collagen fibers are embedded. It is rarely discussed in collagen protocols and consistently underestimated in its structural contribution. Two non-negotiable foundations that every other element of this protocol depends on. Sleep is the primary window for dermal repair. Growth hormone secretion peaks during slow-wave sleep and directly drives fibroblast collagen synthesis. Adults consistently sleeping fewer than 7 hours show measurably impaired skin barrier function, elevated cortisol the following day, and reduced collagen production rates. No supplement protocol compensates for chronic sleep deprivation at the structural level. Daily SPF 50 on all sun-exposed skin, every morning regardless of season or cloud cover. UVA penetrates clouds and glass. The cumulative UV damage of incidental daily exposure, driving, walking, sitting near windows, accounts for the majority of photoaging over a lifetime. Blocking it is the single highest return on investment action in any skin aging protocol. These 6 dietary habits work in concert with collagen supplementation to protect existing collagen while stimulating new synthesis. First, eliminate refined sugar and minimize high glycemic carbohydrates. Glycation is dose-dependent. Every reduction in blood glucose excursion is a reduction in Ag formation in the dermis. Second, consume vitamins C-rich whole foods daily. Bell peppers, kiwi, citrus, strawberries. Whole food vitamin C provides bioflavonoids that improve collagen cross-linking beyond what isolated ascorbic acid alone achieves. Third, include bone broth 2 to 3 times per week as a whole food collagen source, providing glycine and proline alongside mineral cofactors in a bioavailable matrix. Fourth, prioritize omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish, walnuts, and ground flaxseed. Omega-3 suppress the inflammatory cytokines that activate collagen-degrading enzymes. This directly addresses destroyer 3 at the dietary level. Fifth, eat sulfur-containing foods daily. Eggs, garlic, onions, and cruciferous vegetables provide the sulfur compounds required for glutathione synthesis, your body's primary internal antioxidant, which protects collagen fibers from oxidative degradation. Sixth, minimize alcohol. Alcohol depletes zinc, suppresses growth hormone secretion, elevates cortisol, and generates acetaldehyde, a compound that directly cross-links collagen into non-functional age-like structures. Its impact on dermal collagen is underestimated and cumulative. Realistic expectations and honest tracking make the difference between adherence and abandonment. Skin structural changes occur over weeks to months, not days. The clinical trials showing measurable results ran for 8 to 12 weeks minimum. Evaluate at the 8-week mark, not the 2-week mark. Track 3 things: skin elasticity by gently pinching the back of your hand and measuring how quickly it returns to position, skin hydration by assessing morning texture before any products, and the depth and softness of established lines in consistent lighting. Photograph the same angle in the same light every 2 weeks for objective comparison. The most common mistakes are taking collagen without vitamin C, eliminating the synthesis cofactor, and wasting most of the investment, using heat-processed collagen powders that have degraded the bioactive peptide sequences, and failing to address the 4 destroyers while supplementing, which means building with one hand while the other tears down. The protocol works when it is complete. Partial implementation produces partial results, and partial results lead people to conclude the science doesn't apply to them, when in reality they simply left out a critical piece. Your skin is not aging because of what you are not applying to it. It is aging because fibroblast activity has slowed, because collagen-derived amino acids are absent from your diet, because glycation and inflammation and cortisol are actively degrading the structural matrix of your dermis, and because daily UV exposure continues accumulating damage that compounds with every year. Every one of those mechanisms is addressable, not theoretically, clinically, with specific, measurable, reproducible interventions that have been tested in controlled research settings. 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen peptides paired with 500 milligrams of vitamin C every morning. zinc, copper, and silica from food and targeted supplementation. 7 to 9 hours of sleep as a non-negotiable biological requirement. Daily SPF 50. Refined sugar minimized. Omega-3s prioritized. Bone broth included. Alcohol reduced. That is the protocol. That is what the evidence supports. And it is available to anyone willing to be consistent with it for 8 to 12 weeks. The skincare industry will continue selling you access to the surface of your skin. Senior Decode will continue showing you how to address what is actually happening 3 millimeters below it. If this gave you a framework you needed, share it. There are millions of adults spending significant money on surface-level solutions to a biological problem that requires a completely different approach. This information belongs in their hands. I'm Dr. Camila Torres. This is Senior Decode, and I will see you in the next one.